it's Sunday here. All the doctors are closed. I just went to a pharmacist because I know I've got the dreaded stomach infection from eating foods, bacterial infections. I'm feeling very, very bad down below, and it's not pretty in the bathroom. So I know what I've got. I've had it before, and if it progresses any further, I'll be in a state where I'll be shivering in my room and totally incapacitated. Now, normally I'd go to a doctor and I'd get a drug called norfloxacin, or if you're in Australia, they'd probably give you ciprofloxacin. But normally in Thailand, I use norfloxacin, right? It's a lot lighter. May not be as it's not as broad spectrum as ciprofloxacin, but it usually does the trick in a Thai environment. So over here, I'm not quite sure what the bacteria is, but I do know that I've got it because I do feel the same way. So normally they give you something for the diarrhea, to stop your diarrhea, and then what they'll do is they'll also give you electrolytes. They'll prescribe some electrolytes. You go to the chemist, you'll buy it in little packets. Chemist, pharmacist, buy it in little packets, and you mix it with water and drink it, and it's supposed to replace the electrolytes you'll lose as a consequence of you losing all that water, right? Because that will equally make you quite unwell. So on top of all of that, you basically just need rest and moderate your diet a little. Now, if you go to a doctor and they give you all of that stuff, you may end up in a situation that I was in at one stage where a doctor refused to give me antibiotics. This is in my home country, right? And I said to him, mate, I know I have stomach infection. No, you don't know that. You don't know that. You won't know that unless you do a stool test and we take samples and we put it through the lab. I'm reluctant to give you antibiotics. I will treat you for your current symptoms and we'll leave it like that. Well, over a period of time, it got worse and worse, and I ended up going to another doctor and getting the antibiotics, and it takes some time for the antibiotics to work on you, right? So now I'm 3 or 4 days into it, and I'm in a really bad way, and I'm waiting for the antibiotics to kick in. So I tell the doctors this story, and they're a little more sympathetic now because they start to think this guy actually knows what he's talking about, although we still don't know what type of bacterial infection he does have. So I'm unsure about what kind of antibiotic I should give him. So under those circumstances, I just say, give me ciprofloxacin and I want to treat it now. Now, if after the first day of treatment, I don't see a result, I know I'm in trouble, right? I need to take something else. Now, one of the questions, of course, is, have you taken ciprofloxacin before? Have you taken norfloxacin before? Are you allergic to penicillin? All of those questions pop up, right? And you do need to know the answers to that. So in my case, I have had it prescribed to me before, so I know I can safely take it. Now, that might not be the same for you, but the reason for this video is because you could be in a world of pain before these people prescribe you the right medication. Now, what they tend to do is they tend to hold off on the antibiotics and, as I said earlier, try to treat the symptoms that you're currently showing. And, come back in a few days if it hasn't been any better. Well, I don't want to come back, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Now, in a lot of cases, the patient knows better than the doctor. Hear me out on this. I have been in situations, I'll just describe one. I've been in another situation where I was scuba diving once. I was stung by a marine animal, and I told the doctor what to do, and the doctor did not listen to me. And as a consequence, I spent a week in hospital being treated incorrectly for something that I could have gone home the same day with treatment. Now, I know this is true because I actually contracted the doctor from the Australian Underwater School of Medicine to come into the regional town that I was working in and brief all the doctors. And one thing he said to the doctor or the doctors in the room, was if a diver tells you that they've been stung by something and they saw that, you treat them for that. You don't take it on, oh, I'm not sure, maybe, let's not give them that serum, let's not do that. Treat them for the marine animal they think they were stung by, and just be done with it. So he followed that up by saying, in many cases, the patient knows more about the situation than the doctor does. And he cited my story where, I was a qualified diving instructor. I've got a number of specialties. I do know my way around the underwater world, and I was trying to tell the doctors what I knew, and they were just so unsure of themselves, they weren't prepared to treat me accordingly. Every time I'm in Asia, or anywhere else for that matter, and pharmacists won't prescribe a medicine that I know that I need because they say they need a doctor's prescription by law, I actually get that, right? But when they start saying to me that, look, they could, but they're not sure that I need it and they don't really want to, and because it could be the right medicine, and have you had it before? And you can see that they're on the brink of giving it to you. They can give it to you, like in Thailand, they give you anything you ask for, but in the Philippines it's a bit tougher, and in some cases the pharmacies will give it to you, so you just shop around. Every time I see a pharmacist sort of labouring over it, I start to get a little bit uncomfortable that, you know what, I'm back in the situation that I was in as a diver where, I was being mistreated. Now, that doesn't get any better when I get to a doctor. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes they're a bit more sympathetic. They understand, I've had experience in this and I know the treatment, but you'll get some doctor that sits there and says, nah, you know what, I haven't been able to prove through some test that this guy's got what he's saying he's got, so I'm not going to treat him for that. And that's a real shame, because I do actually know what I'm talking about, and if I can't get the medicine from him, I'll go elsewhere and I'll get it and I'll treat it and it will be fine. I'm posting this video because I'm highlighting that you may get mistreated as a patient because the doctor is not fully confident in what he's doing, or she's doing for that matter. So my recommendation is, if you're traveling into these regions, go to your doctor and get some medicines that will help treat these kind of symptoms, so travel medications. And they will readily prescribe them to you, and they will tell you what symptoms you need to be having before you can take the medicine. So that's my usual strategy, is to go to my doctor, and when I'm there getting my annual checkups or whatever, I say, oh, by the way, I'm traveling overseas soon. Can you please prescribe me some antibiotics for, bacterial infections of the stomach and anything else that they think is relevant. Now, I did that on one occasion. The doctor said, where are you going? I told him the country. And he said, hang on a minute. And he got on the computer and he said to me, you also need a hepatitis B injection, you need this and you need that. So I had a raft of inoculations as well before I went, which was actually a good thing, because I didn't know about any of that prior to going into the doctor. So he highlighted that. So a good reason to highlight it with your doctor back home before you travel. Anyway, I hope this video is of value to you. I'm not saying don't go and see a doctor. I am saying see a doctor, but I'm also saying be aware of your medical condition and know what these symptoms and signs are like, and be able to explain it to the point where you're giving confidence to the doctor, or in the absence of being able to get a doctor, know what you need from a pharmacist, get it and treat yourself properly. And as soon as you can, get to a doctor and just cover things off like you're supposed to. All right, have a nice day and take care.